On the surface, York Review is a travel show, where a man cycles round Yorkshire and rates arbitrarily chosen places on a baffling scale. But lurking behind this goofy facade is a sinister mystery scattered throughout the series, and I've become obsessed. I've spent ages combing through the clues, and I think I've finally solved the riddle at the heart of the show. You better catch up while you still can, because the reviewer is in danger, but not from the person you might think. Hi, I'm Harold the Fish, the small channel detective, and this is my deep dive. We've started with my surface level observations, but if you look deeper, it's a very different show. With over 40 episodes of content, there's a lot to unpack here, so grab your snorkels, it's time to dive! The standard York Review format features the host, Stuart, cycling to a town, wandering round and reviewing it. But in episodes 4 and 6 we see some outros which appear out of place. Stuart is seen going about his day, not engaging with the camera, and encountering odd Yorkshire-themed items. A box of Yorkshire tea, some Yorkshire bread. Things heat up in episode 8 where a trail of Yorkshire products leads to an unseen figure who escapes before capture, leaving behind a Yorkshire tea box lid. 2 episodes later we learn that this lid carried a warning, and in episode 12 we're introduced to the culprit himself.
I will see to it personally that York Review fails.
Who are you?
I'm the Yorkshireman.
What the hell was that?
True to his word, the Yorkshireman breaks in again during an episode 16 outro, threatening he can end the series.
I can end your series with just one word.
With the police unwilling to help, Stuart spots a dumbbell on the ground and decides to take matters into his own hands. The next time the Yorkshireman appears, Stuart stands his ground.
What?
That word, lad. Rotherham. Rotherham!
I think it's safe to say that the Yorkshireman might have some supernatural qualities? Over the next few episodes, we get to see a bit more of what he's capable of. Let's keep track of his abilities, summoning Yorkshire-themed things and appearing and disappearing at will. In the episode 23 confrontation, the Yorkshireman claims to cause global disasters like the pandemic, and displays a strange rushing power. The Yorkshireman also claimed Rotherham would end the series, and when Stuart looks into it, he finds Rotherham wasn't where he thought it should be. This can only mean one thing.
Yorkshire is shifting itself, changing, so that my list is invalid.
Which is a perfectly rational thing to think, I guess. Either way, we'll stick shifting Yorkshire as another Yorkshireman power. It's also hinted that the Yorkshireman has some technical skills, as Stuart claims the outros featuring the Yorkshireman aren't made by him.
Every now and then, I get a little surprise clip thrown in there.
Naturally, this all becomes a bit too much for Stuart, and in episode 24 he bows to supernatural pressure and declares York Review is over.
York Review is over!
Except we know it isn't over, he just moves to a slightly different part of York. This seems to work for a while. Stuart is confronted again in episode 30, and for the first time we can see that the Yorkshireman can interact with physical objects. The attacks start to become much more regular. The Yorkshireman appears during the episode 32 cycle, causing a crash. He chases Stuart from the beach to the Church of Hunmanby in episode 33, and warns of something sinister coming in episode 34 during a rare Q&A session.
How are you adding outros into the ends of my videos?
Yorkie bars. Yorkshire puddings. York Review. It's all the same to me.
Thank you, Yorkshireman, very helpful. I'll write Dominion over all things Yorkshire on that list of mine. True to his word, the Yorkshireman finally strikes in episode 36. It turns out he's somehow been using his tech skills to influence the accounts of Stuart's Spotify followers, effectively killing his cherished playlist. This is a step too far for Stuart, who vows vengeance.
I'll get you for this, Yorkshireman! If it's the last thing I do!
So how do you stop a supernatural entity who can appear anywhere, influence technology, and warp the reality of Yorkshire itself? Well, it turns out the Yorkshireman might have a weakness after all. During episode 33's encounter, the Yorkshireman chases Stuart all round Hunmanby, but the chase only ends when Stuart runs into the church grounds. Here, the Yorkshireman simply stands on the threshold before fading away. This is the most important outro up to this point, as it's the only time we've seen a limitation of the Yorkshireman's power. For whatever reason, he was unable to pass into holy ground. Stuart believes there's something here, so he goes out to collect holy water and awaits the next inevitable confrontation. Episodes 40 and 41 have a two-parter Yorkshireman scene, and it is without question the best and most insightful Yorkshireman content of the series. The Yorkshireman confronts Stuart once again, with the aim of injuring him just enough so he runs out of time and can't finish his series. Stuart reaches for his holy water to fight back, but discovers he grabbed the wrong bag, and at the worst possible time.
York Review is as much a Yorkshire product as anything else in this county. I have dominion over all things Yorkshire. The more episodes you make, the stronger I become!
After evading the Yorkshireman's initial attack, Stuart flees into the woods, but the Yorkshireman starts to summon minions from York Review to fight back. This just goes to show how much his power has grown since the first episodes. It's no longer boxes of Yorkshire tea and Yorkshire puddings appearing, now it's the ilkly more alien, Stuart Maurice from a throwaway segment on episode 8, and William Bradley, the giant of Market Weighton. It's only when the helmsman appears, a fellow cyclist from episode 12, that Stuart can find his holy water again and challenge the Yorkshireman himself.
What? Holy water?
He douses a rope, makes a charge, and finally captures the apparition. Immediately after, in episode 41, we finally learn the Yorkshireman's backstory. It turns out he's very similar to Stuart. There's an obvious physical similarity, and why might that be?
I'll be damned if I know. Maybe we're related.
What we do know is the Yorkshireman, like Stuart, set off on a quest to review all of Yorkshire for his grandfather's survey. But he faced the Spanish flu pandemic, the shifting of Yorkshire, and freak weather. This culminated in an unseasonable storm which ultimately led to his demise. Actually, maybe it's better to let him explain it.
I huddled under a tree for shelter. Stashed my journal somewhere safe. But I didn't live to see the morning. Don't you see, lad, it's happening again. Freak weather, pandemics, it's Yorkshire's doing. It doesn't want to be seen by just one person.
So, the Yorkshireman is a good guy? Or at least neutral? It seems some of the powers we've written down for the Yorkshireman aren't actually his, but rather the natural properties of Yorkshire itself. The Yorkshireman just didn't want Stuart to end up like him, trapped by the unfinished business of his survey, for around 100 years if he lived through the Spanish flu. The last time we see the Yorkshireman is in the end scene.
I've said all I've got to say. Stop the series, finish the series, I don't give a damn anymore. I'm done. You won't be seeing me again.
So is that it? York Review solved? I don't think so. In the last few episodes, Stuart is seen looking for the Yorkshireman, but why? Are we about to find out that the true series finale will be a fight against the abstract notion of Yorkshire itself? I don't think that's where the series is heading. There's another loose thread left to pull, but we'll have to go even deeper to find it. To depths only the most hardcore of York Review fans will know. It's going to get pretty dark down here, so we'll have to find our own way through. It's time to examine York Review's most mysterious character. In episode 27, Stuart describes finding a Christmas card in a stack of post, with a shocking message on the inside. Written in chopped out letters, the card reads, "Go home, traitor, but if you stay, take care. You are getting too close. He is worried and dangerous. Love, the Lancashireman." Stuart says he hadn't shared his address with anyone after moving house, and he has no idea who could have sent this letter. The Lancashireman isn't mentioned again for another 13 episodes, until the helmsman directs Stuart away from the Yorkshireman's minions during the grand confrontation.
How do I know you're not with them?
I was sent a letter, signed Lancashire Man.
The Lancashireman is only named in these 2 episodes, which doesn't give us much information, but there are 2 other episodes where we can deduce his influence. You see, characters have theme songs in York Review. The Yorkshireman's theme plays in almost every scene where he features. Similarly, there is a song which plays in the background when Stuart reads the Lancashireman's letter. But this isn't the first time we've heard this track. In episode 18, the song plays when Stuart spots the dumbbell to swing at the Yorkshireman. We also hear the track play in episode 38, after Stuart throws his conspiracy board to the ground. Here, 3 items have fallen onto the same spot. The rope used to tie the pannier bags to Stuart's bike, a printout of the church which lets Stuart escape the Yorkshireman, and the original Lancashireman letter. It's this combination of items which gives Stuart the ideas needed to finally put an end to the Yorkshireman's reign of terror. The fact that the Lancashireman's letter appears in this pile, alongside the music, adds further support to the idea that this is the Lancashireman's theme song, and that all these 4 clips are related. Now, what's the common thread among these segments? A weapon to strike the Yorkshireman, a letter warning of the Yorkshireman, the idea to defeat the Yorkshireman, and support in the final confrontation. The Lancashireman is clearly an enemy of the Yorkshireman. But does that make him a friend of Stuart? We know that the Yorkshireman's motives were ultimately for the good of Stuart, despite the way he went about it. If the Lancashireman opposes the Yorkshireman, does that mean he wishes harm on Stuart? He wants Stuart to be yet another victim of Yorkshire, struck down on his journey just like the Yorkshireman before him? I think Stuart has come to the same realisation, and I believe this is why he's seeking the Yorkshireman, not to fight him, but to ask for help defeating this shadowy character. Because while we have almost 0 Lancashireman content, I think enough clues have been laid for us to figure out who he is. We're about to reach depths no one has seen before. Not only do I know who the Lancashireman is, I also believe we've already seen the Lancashireman himself. We'll start off with the bold claim that the Lancashireman is a ghost, just like the Yorkshireman. Throughout this video, we've been building a list of the Yorkshireman's powers, and I believe the Lancashireman has demonstrated similar skills in each encounter. The Yorkshireman first made himself known by dumping random items around Stuart. Could this dumbbell have appeared by similar means? What about the rope and printout? What about the card itself? We assume it's posted, but what if its origin is more supernatural? We also know that when Stuart moves house, no one knows his new address, but that doesn't stop the Yorkshireman from finding him. Or the Lancashireman. By episode 40, the Yorkshireman's power has grown to the point he can summon minions. What is the Helmsleyman if not a minion of the Lancashireman? Time and time again, we see Lancashireman powers which mirror those of the Yorkshireman. Add to that their adversarial relationship, they must be the same. I also have strong evidence to suggest the Lancashireman may be a character who was already featured in York Review. Now, a casual viewer might think, character in York Review? There's only Stuart and the Yorkshireman, right? But there are actually more characters than you think. If the Lancashireman is a ghost, then my first thought was he must be someone from the past. William Bradley is mentioned a lot in the show, Thomas Busby is supposedly already a ghost who haunts a chair in Thirsk, and what about the Yorkshireman's grandfather, the Baron of Hull? These are all characters active during the 1700s to early 1900s, which is about the right time, but I think we can discount these as they're all from Yorkshire themselves. William Bradley is also seen as a Yorkshireman minion, and the Baron disappeared in the same way that Stuart's housemates disappear in episode 16. I think this is meant as another parallel between Stuart and the Yorkshireman, another curse levelled by Yorkshire itself. I believe there are stronger candidates for the Lancashireman. In episode 40, Stuart has his final confrontation with the Yorkshireman, but earlier in the episode we have this very strange encounter. Stuart dubs this character Old Man, and I find the timing of his appearance very suspicious. Could Stay Safe be a reference to the Yorkshireman's ambush later in the episode? We know the Lancashireman is active in this episode since the Helmsleyman mentions him by name. While I do think the Old Man is certainly a character to watch, I think there's another candidate. A candidate which is so strong, I'm confident saying if the Lancashireman is anyone, it must be this person. Now, just hear me out here. There are 3 reasons why I think the Helmsleyman has to be the Lancashireman. Since we have strong evidence the Lancashireman is a ghost with similar powers to the Yorkshireman, we have to look for characters who have similar abilities. The helmsman finds Stuart in episode 12, the exact same episode the Yorkshireman first appears. If we assume the Lancashireman and Yorkshireman grow in power at similar rates, then it would make a lot of sense that they can only physically manifest on the show around the same time. I'm not the only person who's noticed this coincidence. One of the 4 comments on this video also notes the similarities. I think you're close, Dominic Brown 7928, but they're definitely not working together. I hope that's not your pin, by the way. We do get our second clue from this episode though. The helmsman offers to show Stuart around Helmsley and we see them together at the castle. But interestingly, the helmsman doesn't come with Stuart to see the final attraction, the ruins of Revo Abbey. Did the helmsman skip this because he didn't want to come? Or because he couldn't come? We know the Yorkshireman cannot pass onto holy ground, and if the Lancashireman is also a ghost, he can't either. We actually see how far the helmsman gets into Helmsley itself. He stops here. And what's that in the distance? So the helmsman appears around the right time and seems reluctant to travel near holy sites. It's certainly possible he's a ghost, and we know he's related to the Lancashireman somehow from his appearance during the battle in episode 40. He does say that he was only sent a letter from the Lancashireman though, not that he's the Lancashireman himself.
How do I know you're not with them?
I was sent a letter, signed Lancashire Man.
That could be a lie though? If only I had some evidence linking the helmsman to the county of Lancashire.
Stuart, over here.
Wait,
Come this way.
surely not.
I was sent a letter, signed Lancashire Man.
That's a Lancashire accent! The helmsman gets his name from showing Stuart around Helmsley, but it's never established that he's from Helmsley himself. He must be from Lancashire to have a voice like that. Why did it take me so long to figure out his accent? It's a dead giveaway. Hang on a minute. He first appears in episode 12. That's the episode where the microphone mysteriously stops working.
I know quite a lot about all this. Have you been living in Helmsley long? Yeah, in a way. I've been here for about 20 years.
We don't actually hear the helmsman speak until episode 40.
But not after me. Now go.
Maybe this isn't a coincidence. If we knew the helmsman's accent, we could pinpoint his place of origin, which would betray his Lancashire status. We know that the ghosts in this series have influence over technology. The Yorkshireman adds outros to episodes and manipulates Spotify playlists. What if the audio errors in episode 12 were actually caused by the helmsman using the same set of powers to mask his accent and to dodge association with the Lancashireman? Ah, okay. It looks like we finally hit rock bottom. If Stuart sticks to his list, there are only 3 more York Review episodes left. He can probably manage this in under a year. The last few episodes show Stuart retracing his steps, attempting to find the Yorkshireman, who checked out in episode 41. I think Stuart's realised that if the Yorkshireman is on his side, then the Lancashireman isn't. Go home traitor isn't something a friendly character would write. Maybe the Yorkshireman is his only hope to face off against the ghostly Lancashireman, who I believe will be revealed to be none other than the Helmsman, one of the earliest side characters to ever appear on the show. Right then, big thanks to Stuart, the York Review creator himself, for turning my fan theory into a YouTube video. I provided the script, but I don't really have the video editing skills to bring my creation to life myself. Hopefully he hasn't done anything too weird with the format. I'm pretty sure I've cracked the York Review code, but what do you think? If you have a better case for someone else being the Lancashireman, then let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to hear if you think there's something I've missed. But that's all I have for today. I've been Harold the Fish, and like my mother always said, if it ain't broke, don't fish it!